My name is Marcia Raphael. I am a senior paralegal at Keches Law Group. I've been here for 4 years now, and I'm an epileptic. So epilepsy in a nutshell is an overactivity in the brain that causes reoccurring seizures. And how it affects me on a day-to-day basis is that I have to always watch how all of my activities are. It affects everything that I do. I have triggers, and they cause symptoms. So I have seizures that are tonic-clonic, and those are convulsive seizures. I have those about once a month. And then I have the absent seizures, which can happen about 16 times a day, and that's with medication. And with that, those seizures themselves cause symptoms. So even though you're seeing the seizure, it can cause fatigue, it can cause confusion, it can cause body aches, it can cause a whole bunch of things that I have to navigate in my daily life. So not only am I navigating my triggers, I'm also navigating the symptoms of the seizures. And then with regard to the triggers are everywhere in life. I always say that my trigger is life itself. Because everything can be a trigger. I have to keep myself kind of in the middle of everything. Can't be too hot, too cold, too anything. So I always have to moderate myself. I would have uncontrolled seizures. So that would mean that I would just seize without limitation. And unfortunately, that could have detrimental consequences. So I have tonic-clonic and I have absent seizures. So tonic-clonic are the convulsive seizures where, again, part of you become rigid in some way. So let me take a step back. Generalized epilepsy means that you have seizures on both sides of your brain, so you become absent in your brain. You're like not present. So the tonic-clonic means that you're not present, but you also become rigid in some way. And usually a part of you is twitching or convulsing, and usually it's a complete convulsive seizure. But it can be just a partial convulsive on part of your body. And then there's absent seizures, where it can last anywhere from like 10 seconds to 60 seconds. And those are harder to tell. And a lot of times I have to accommodate those kind of things, because when I have conversations, people don't realize I'm having them. And I have to fill in the gaps of what they're talking about, or ask them to repeat what they're saying, and explain that I'm not trying to ignore them. I'm literally I missed something that they were saying. Because to me, it's like a blink. It literally was just a blink. It wasn't even a couple of seconds. It was me blinking. But sometimes they even walk away and I don't even realize. It's like magic. The person just disappeared to me. It really is it's a polarizing kind of experience, because to them, I'm just standing there, not responding, and it can be kind of like I'm ignoring them. But to me, it was just a blink. I have to moderate myself. I can never be too much of anything. So if I'm too excited or too relaxed, it does affect me. So even when I'm relaxing, watching TV, reading or something, I tend to try and still do other things to occupy myself in some way, because otherwise I have increased absent seizures. So there literally is no way for me to be too much of anything. I always have to live in the middle. So again, if I'm too cold, too hot, too stressed, too anything, I have to really moderate myself and live in the middle of everything. No, I do not think that people understand what epilepsy is. I think that people have an idea from maybe TV or hearing about epilepsy. They specifically think that epilepsy simply is like tonic-clonic seizures, the convulsive seizures. That's their main idea of what seizures are. And then they might think of like the basic triggers of like the flashing lights, maybe noise causing some kind of epileptic episode. But for the most part, that's all that they really understand. There's so many different types of epilepsy that the ones that are absent or partials, they forget that those exist, and those are just as important as the convulsive seizures. And then the actual seizure, like I said, is not the only part of being an epileptic. It is the symptoms that are involved after, the aftercare, because there's a lot of times that the symptoms last days or weeks, and we have to deal with the aftermath of that for so long that it matters. Oh, it's imperative. I find it imperative for myself anyway because of my safety. By educating people, it's creating a conversation that I'm educating them on my epilepsy. And it's important because epilepsy is not a cookie cutter disorder. Every epileptic has their own set of triggers, they all have their own set of needs. So if they try to give care to me that might be for someone else with epilepsy, it might be detrimental to me again. So it's very important for me to educate the people that are around me on a daily basis on what I actually need. And it's imperative that we have that kind of conversation. So, and also it's imperative for their safety as well, because if they try and do something that might be like restraining me in some way, I could hurt them as well, and I don't want to do that. So the conversation is needed so that both parties are safe. So in my past, when I was working, I experienced some discrimination. Specifically, I was let go because I was an epileptic. And I realized that that was a violation of my rights. No one told me explicitly that it was, but I had a feeling that it was. And I decided to do my own research. And upon doing my research, I contacted the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination, and I fought it all the way through. And that's what made me learn to love the law, because I realized that there's people out there that don't understand that they have rights. And I wanted to make sure that other people's rights weren't violated in some way. So I just learned to love the law because of that. My experience at Keches Law Group has been refreshing, to say the least. And I don't say that lightly. I have worked at different places, and I really do feel like, not only with management, I'm talking about on my peer level, people have been very open with dealing with me and my epilepsy and wanting to communicate and learn. And then on the management side, with dealing with my direct attorney, with dealing with HR, again, there's been an open communication about wanting to learn, wanting to educate people, wanting to make sure that I have whatever accommodations that I need. It's been very refreshing and very inclusive, because I really believe that Keches Law Group is looking to be inclusive. So, of course, I love being with my family, but, you know, I'm a nerd. So, I like Star Trek. I love the MCU. I love DC Comics and all that kind of stuff. So, I watch a lot of those things. I read. I love Harry Potter, so I'm a Potterhead. That's the gist of what I do on top of cooking and things like that for my family and friends, because that's what I love to do. But again, I go back to if I watch TV, specifically the MCU, because I love Marvel comics. I love watching like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. I couldn't watch the last couple of movies because specifically Doctor Strange is in them, and I can't watch him because he does a lot of the magic and there's a lot of flashing lights in them, and I just can't view movies that have that kind of stuff in them. So unfortunately, I've missed several of the last Marvel movies. But when I do watch TV, again, I can't be too relaxed. So a lot of the times I crochet while I watch TV. Keep my hands busy, my mind busy while I'm watching TV. So, but that's what I like to do outside of work. One thing that I would like people to take away about epilepsy is that it's not cookie cutter. It is so important to have a conversation with the epileptic that you're dealing with. Without doing that, it is dangerous, first of all, but it's also disrespectful. And you always want to respect the person that has the disability. So it's not cookie cutter. Everyone is different. Have a conversation. I implore everyone to do that.